everyone, my name is Amber, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about romance books that I would like to read. So if you've been around here for a while, maybe you haven't, maybe this is the first video of mine that you're watching. I am not really a romance reader. I don't love the genre, I have to admit, but I don't know if that's just because I haven't really explored it as much as I perhaps could. I mean, I have dabbled over the years. In my youth I read a lot of urban fantasy and paranormal romance. Lindsay Sands and Nalini Singh were my favourites, in case you're wondering. And then last year one of my favourite books of the year was a romance book that was shipped by Angie Hockman, in case you're wondering. It's a fantastic book, gave it 5 stars, highly recommend it. And I also read some flops. However, in 2022 I would like to perhaps read a few more romance books, and I do have my eye on quite a few of them, and I thought I would share them in this video because tomorrow, as you're watching this, is Valentine's Day, as I'm recording this as well. Actually, my partner and I don't really celebrate Valentine's Day because everything is really expensive, but we do tend to go out for a kind of dinner date a few days later because everything's really cheap. So to celebrate, kind of, I thought I would talk about the romance books that I would like to read in the near future. So first of all, because we were just speaking about her, I want to read Angie Hockman's new book, which is called Dream On. I'm not sure if there's a release date for this book yet, but it is coming out this year. The tagline is, "What would you do if your dream man turned out to be real?" The main character Cass wakes up after surviving a car accident, and she is flooded with memories of her boyfriend Devin. The only problem is that Devin doesn't exist. I stopped reading the synopsis there. I know that I love Angie Hockman's writing, and this synopsis sounds mysterious and also wonderful. I think Devin is going to show up at some point in this book, like the real Devin. It's not going to just be her memories. I think it sounds really, really good, and I cannot wait to read it. Another book that I would really like to read is You Had Me at Hola. The only thing that I know about this one is it's been compared to Jane the Virgin, which is a TV show based around telenovelas, which I loved. I thought that was a fantastic show. The vibe of it was just really my thing. The humour was fantastic, and I think this book is quite similar. It says here that a soap opera darling has a messy public breakup. It is all over the tabloids. Then she gets cast next to a telenovela hunk called Ashton, and that sounds absolutely fantastic. I think this is the first in a series as well. Let me just double check. I'm sure there's a second book out as well. Yeah, a lot like Adios. I'm really hyped to read this one. I might see if I can get my hands on it in the near future because this does sound like something I would really like because of the reasons I just mentioned. Thirdly, I mentioned Nalini Singh earlier, and that is because I discovered her books when I was a teenager, which a questionable time to be reading those kinds of adult books. I marathoned her books and Lindsay Sands' books when I was about 14. They taught me a lot, and I have been wanting to do a reread of Nalini Singh's Side Changeling series. I reread the first book a couple of years ago, I think, maybe beginning of last year. Really enjoyed it and can't wait to get back into the series. So that's something that I want to kind of explore in the future. I think during my initial read through of the series I got up to book 7 and then I couldn't find the rest of them because of accessibility reasons. But this time I want to start again from book 2 because I've already reread book 1, continue on and read past book 7 and get immersed in this world again. So this series is about Side Changelings. So the world has kind of been split into super smart people who are the Psy. Not that the changelings aren't smart, but the Psy aren't very emotional. Their emotions are closed off. They've been kind of like bred to not feel things. At least it's in their culture not to feel things. And then the changelings are shapeshifters. You can get all sorts of different kinds. You get wolves, leopards, bears, I think, probably. And this series is basically about the Psy and the changelings coming together, even though the higher-ups maybe don't want that, and they're kind of breaking the societal structure that is currently in place. And the first book at least has a murder mystery surrounding it. There are people who have been going missing. It's a really good series. I would highly recommend it, and I want to continue reading or rereading that this year. Another one I really want to read, actually no, the next 2 are ones from a similar vein. I really want to read The Love Hypothesis and The Spanish Love Deception, because these have been really hyped recently, and I'm thinking because they are hyped on Book Talk in particular and they're being promoted and I think they're becoming bestsellers, they're kind of spreading far and wide, I'm thinking they're accessible. And because I'm not the strongest romance reader, I don't love loads of smarts, which I don't think The Love Hypothesis at least has. I'm thinking these might be a really good gateway into the genre, kind of like how Twilight was perhaps back in the day, the paranormal books. Not that I'm saying these are on the sort of same level as Twilight, but I'm kind of expecting the same level of accessibility as a non-romance reader. So The Spanish Love Deception, I don't actually know what it's about at all. I've heard absolutely nothing about the plot of this book. I've just seen the cover absolutely everywhere. And then The Love Hypothesis is about a professor who is a physics professor, I think, and someone who is studying studying physics maybe, and it used to be Kylo Ren and Rey fan fiction. I think it's called Reylo. I don't really know, it's not something that I'm really a fan of. And they get together, and that's all I know about that one. So these are two very popular romance books that I would like to try in the very near future. Let me know if you think I will enjoy them. I realise I haven't really given you much to work with other than I think they're going to be accessible. Tell me if you think they're good for like a non-romance reader to kind of get into the genre. I also really want to carry on with the Ice Planet Barbarian series. I read books 1, 2 and 3 I believe in 2021, and I quite enjoyed them. There were some parts that were questionable, I have to admit, especially in the first and second books. The third one was really, really good. Book 1, at least if you read it on Kindle Unlimited, has a rape scene right at the beginning, which was entirely unnecessary, and then the woman who was raped and traumatized was then killed for the plot, which I hated. But as the series went on, it did get better, and so I want to read books 4, well, book 4 onwards, I suppose. I don't know where I'm going to stop the series. It's a very long series. There's also a spin-off series. I think she's also written a series about dragons, or like people who turn into dragons or something. I'm not too sure, but I love that, and I love that they're all available on Kindle Unlimited, because I was thinking about cancelling my membership, but now I'm thinking maybe I should keep it and marathon all of her books. I also would really like to read the Soulmate Equation. So I don't love Christina Lauren's books. A lot of them have been 3 stars for me. I think the odd 1 or 2 have been 4 stars, and a few were 2 or 1 star. Yeah, a real mixed bag from Christina Lauren, to be honest. But this one does sound like something I would enjoy. It's a bit more sci-fi in that I think it's about either an app or a website, and there's some sort of equation that goes into matching people up, and the main female character gets matched with the owner of the app, I think, and they have to explore their relationship from there. I do think that I might enjoy this one. The concept sounds really interesting to me, so I'm intrigued and I'm looking forward to reading it. And then there's also a romantic suspense series that I've been meaning to try out. Goodreads says since 2013, so I have had my eye on this for a while, and that's a series by Karen Rose. The first book is called Don't Tell. I think this is about someone who was escaping an abusive relationship, and she moves to a new town with a new identity with her child, I believe. Sounds a bit like Still House Late, but more romantic. And then secrets from her past start to crop up. And like I said, this is something that I've been interested in for quite a while, and I believe Mara from Books Like Whoa mentioned this series or another one of Karen Rose's books in her Best Romance Books of 2021 video. And mine and Mara's tastes do align quite a lot, especially with thrillers, and this being romantic suspense I think might also match up. Another one that I would like to check out, because I already own it, is The Stationery Shop of Tehran. So I don't know if this is kind of historical romance or if it's more literary romance or not. There are probably some different subgenres here, but it's basically about someone who works at a stationery shop and falls in love, I think. So that one sounds really good as well, and the bonus is I already own it. It's something a little bit different that I am classing as a romance book, because this author's books will contain a hell of a lot of romance, is House of Sky and Breath, which is coming out in 2 days, and I'm so excited. I really enjoyed the first book in the Crescent City series, and I think this one's going to be really good as well. And I think it's probably going to contain a lot more romance than the first book did, because the first one was very much a murder mystery, and the main character was discovering more about herself and also about what happened to her murdered best friend. But this one, the second book, I believe is going to get more into Bryce's relationship with Hunt, and it's not a relationship that I love, but true to Sarah J Maas form, I do think that there might be a love triangle. I'm just guessing here, I don't know, but I'm really hoping there's a love triangle with the mermaid that we've met in book 1. I thought he was lovely, and I wouldn't hate it. I think that would be really cool. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. It's going to be a chunky one. It's a really chunky romance book, and it's obviously more urban fantasy, but I don't mind. And then there are some books that I know absolutely nothing about, so I'm just going to whittle these off in a really long list, because these are ones that have covers that have caught my eye, or I've seen 1 or 2 people mention them briefly, and I've decided that I want to check them out. So first we have While We Were Dating, It Happened One Summer, The X Talk and The Weather Girl, I believe it's called, 7 Days in June, and finally Neon Gods, purely because I really like that cover. I don't know if it's something that I'm going to enjoy at all, but the cover's really cool. So those were the romance books that I would like to check out in the future, my romance TBR, if you will. Let me know if you think I will like any of them in the comments below. If you've read any of them and you have thoughts, tell me whether they are positive or negative thoughts. I would like to try to whittle down this list and decide which ones I'm actually going to read soon. I mean, hopefully all of them, but that may not be the case. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you will have a lovely Valentine's Day, whether or not you celebrate. You will deserve a very special 14th of February regardless. I'm going to go and chill out now and watch some rom-coms, so thank you so much again for watching, and I'll speak to you all in my next video. Bye!